Hello guys and welcome back to the super cheap £30 sniper to see if we can get this thing working well. So I took it out, I didn't actually game play with it on the weekend, but I took it out and had a go over it on the range. And I was actually quite surprised with the performance. I'll insert some clips. I was shooting it around about 45 to 50 meters with 0.3 BBs. Remember, it's firing at 1 joule, so it's really underpowered at the moment. And yeah, it was 50 meters, sort of a human-sized target, was no problem at all. Was hitting it consistently, so I was quite impressed with the not so much the range, but the accuracy, considering it isn't a very expensive rifle. So hopefully it's not a bad starting point. So hopefully we can just improve from there and increase the range and obviously keep that accuracy. So to increase the range and the power, I've got a element, it's an M125, it's actually a VSR spring, this one. I'm not 100% sure if it's going to fit and work, so I think it's a bit shorter than the springs that are in these rifles, but I'm going to put it in and see how we get on, really. So yeah, let's get started. It's going to be the same process that we followed last time to split the outer barrel and cylinder unit and trigger unit from the body here. So there's 2 screws underneath, 1, 2. These are a 2.5mm Allen key, and there's one at the back here underneath, which is a 4mm Allen key. So we'll get these undone to start with, and that will split up the body. That's that one. That is that one, and then the back one is a 4mm. It's a bit beefier, this one, so hopefully, there we go. It's good design, these as well, because the screws actually don't come out. They sit in sort of a little housing area inside the frame, so you can't basically can't lose them. But the other issue that is you don't want to strip them because you can't get to them very easily. So now this should just lift out. I'll take a bit of persuasion, but it will come out. Come on, there we go. Right, so we'll just put the body to one side for now. Won't need that, and we'll start working on this. So we need to get to the cylinder, which is this part here. There is, might be easier to take the scope off, but I can't bother, we'll leave it there. There's this little piece here, and this holds the outer barrel to the cylinder. So there's 2 Phillips screws here, which need to be undone. These are quite soft, so just be careful with them. Don't go mad, because I think they'll strip quite easily. And this doesn't pull out super easy, so what you can do is just get a little flathead and slide it under this part, because there's a little sort of pin under here that sticks in. Come on. Just be careful and take your time. You don't want to damage it. There we go, it's starting to come now. There we go. And one thing to note is, watch out for this little brass nut, which sits in the housing here, and that is actually what the body pin that we just undid, the 4mm body pin, that screws into there. So obviously when you flip it over, that is where the threads are. So just be careful when you move that, because it does fall out. And obviously just keep track of all your screws. So now the cylinder should be exposed once we take this off. Perfect. So that's the outer barrel, hot unit, and inner barrel there. Again, we don't need that for now. We will be doing some further work on that at a later date. So for now, this is the part we need. So we need to get the nozzle or cylinder head off here. There's two sort of holes that you can use. I mean, some people just grab it here and twist, but I don't like to do that, because obviously that is your nozzle and you want to keep that nice and fresh, really, so you don't have any seal issues. So I just put long nose pliers in, and turn. Just take your time with it. Obviously this is under pressure, so from the spring inside, but because this rifle's been sat in my friend's sort of garage for a fair amount of time, I don't think it's going to be under that much pressure anymore, just due to the age of the spring and the age of the rifle. It's probably oh, there we go, maybe it is under a bit of pressure. So out comes your piston, and here is the spring. So let's have a look for sort of a size comparison. It is quite a bit shorter. It's about an inch and a half shorter, but we're still going to give it a whirl and see what sort of power increase it gives us. So we need to put the new spring in, but there is a inside here. It's going to be very hard to show you on camera because of the light, but inside there is a spring guide, which is basically a sort of plastic rod that the spring needs to slide over. It needs to be seated on that spring guide. So I'm just confirm with the light that that is in place. Certainly looks like it. Perfect. And then we effectively do the reverse of what we just done. So the new spring's in there. It is quite short, but because it's a bit of a beefier spring, I am hoping it will still give us a bit of a power increase. So piston back in. Yeah, nice. And then we need to put this cap or this cylinder head nozzle and screw that back on. To be fair, yeah, that feels like it's under a lot more tension than the previous one, and that is a considerably shorter spring. So we'll see what sort of performance we get from it. We can always try a different spring if needs be, and I will be going in and out of this cylinder. Once I'm sort of happy, I will sort of grease everything up, lube everything up, and make sure everything's perfect before we seal it for good. So just using long nose pliers there to tighten that on again. That's nice and tight. And then effectively we have to do what we did in reverse. So the outer barrel with the inner barrel on the hop unit slides over the top, goes inside this area, and then you line up. There's a hole here that needs to line up, and that is where this section goes. Remember the brass nut. Careful when you flip it over not to lose that, and it all pushes down. Well, there we go. I need to be careful with this nut because it doesn't like to stay in place. Well, hopefully. No, and again. It's a bit fiddly, but we'll get there. So pop that in. It's funny because it sits in there really snugly, and it's quite a pain to get in, but it falls out very easily. So flip it up. It's happened again. Bear with me, guys, we will get there. It's just a bit fiddly. There we go, we're in. And just push that into place. It can take a bit of a push, and then once that's in, we've got these two screws that we need to, these Phillips screws that we need to put in and do up. 1 and 2. So yeah, Phillips head. And yeah, like I said earlier, go easy on these because they're not super strong. So just tighten them down. They don't need to be stupidly tight. Just yeah, snug is what I would say. I'm gonna give this a bit more of a squeeze to get that shut. There we go. Okay, just got to make sure that everything's lined up and that pushes in nice and easy. So then, yeah, back into the body. So same as we did in reverse, just slides in. Again, take your time. There we go. Take your time and make sure everything's in line before you sort of give it the final push in. And then we're going to do those three screws up again. So I'll start with the 4mm screw. Like I say, it's handy that they're sort of seated in there, so you don't have to worry about losing them or anything. They're there. And again, don't go mad on these, because if you strip these, they will be a real pain to... You have to undo all of this basically and split the shell open to get to them. So just tighten them up nicely, don't have to be mad. Go. And the middle one. Again, not going mad, just tightening up to a decent. It's a good job to sort of squeeze the two bits together when you're tightening up. It just helps the screws sort of go in a bit better. I always find this front one is a little bit tricky, but yeah, there we go. So now we are back together. We'll give it a quick test fire just to make sure we are where we need to be and everything's working. So I'm trying to do this on camera, but cool. Bolt's considerably harder to pull back. What to do over it? There we go. Yeah, we are working. So the bolt is a lot harder to pull back than it was. I mean, it's not stupid, but there we go. So we'll run that through the chrono and see how we get on, and I'll come back to you guys. So we've run it through the chrono and it's now performing at around about 1.8, 1.81 joules consistently. So it's almost doubled the power. So yeah. Next time out of the weekend, I will get this on the range, see how we're performing distance-wise, see if it's still got the accuracy. But I think after the power, now we've upgraded the power quite considerably, I think next we'll be working on the hop unit. I've seen that they do take the Action Army VSR 10 hop units. That's probably the one I'm going to go for. You have to do a slight modification on the mags where you file down these sort of lips here. Otherwise the mag won't sit in properly, but that's relatively minor, so we can give that a go and see how we get on if the accuracy is not there. But the main reason for changing the hop unit will be so it's lifting heavier BBs, because I think with the 3s at the weekend, this was sort of not maxed out on the hop, but it was getting towards the maximum. So I think, yeah, new rubber with the new hop unit, and we should be getting sort of, yeah, lifting those 4s or those 4.5s, which give us that better range and accuracy. So yeah, stay tuned guys. The next video will be, yeah, probably the hop unit in the bucking. So I'll keep you posted. Thanks for watching. Cheers, bye.